This is a story about a girl named Makhosazana who was married off to a snake after she was born. This story reminds us that in this life, all that glitters is not gold, and we need to appreciate what we have. Well, let me not keep you in suspense. Asambeni, let's get right into it. There was a girl named Makhosazana who was very smart and coming from a rich family. But her parents were poor before she was born. Her parents treated her like a princess and was to never lack and was supposed to be happy always. Her parents made sure she registers in university after she graduated from high school so that she can become someone in future and have a qualification as they have never had an opportunity whilst growing up. Makhosazana's parents slaughtered a cow for her every month since she was born, which was a shock to the villagers. But they always responded that their daughter brought them riches ever since she was born, and it was a token of appreciation to the gods. That dressing was also suspicious because they always wore white clothes. In fact, the villagers have never seen them in other color clothing except white. The house was white. The interiors, the tiles, ceiling, furniture, they had custom made appliances, including their clothes. But there was one room which no one was supposed to enter, as it has always been locked, which was also suspicious amongst the workers. After being homeschooled for all these years, Makhosazana's parents decided it was time for her to go out there and mingle with the world, because the only world she knew was her parents and workers in her home. She has never had a normal life like her peers. She has never had a friend except the workers in her house. She then moved to university and was now staying alone and away from her parents. She struggled to adjust to the normal lifestyle of her peers. She would shy away from being in the midst of people. She couldn't go to the shops alone unless someone she knew accompanied her. Her parents would still visit her because she couldn't fit in this life she was introduced to. She wanted to go back home so desperately because it was overwhelming for her. Her mother even made friends for her because she has never had friends before. She knew that she wasn't behaving normal like the rest of her peers. She thought they were the weird ones, not knowing that she was the odd one in white color clothes. Her parents were worried that she might be associated with the wrong crowd because she has never attended a normal school or even lived a normal life like her peers. But she hasn't given them anything to worry about since she was young, and they thought they trusted her to make the right decisions for herself. She slowly started to adjust to her new life and would have friends here and there. Before she knew it, everybody wanted to be in her midst because of her wealth. Makhosazana was driving around in expensive cars and flashy expensive clothes. She used expensive gadgets, and her apartment was envied by most students who would come and spend time there. She didn't mind and enjoyed having guests over her apartment. She made friends, she would spend on them, but she had no idea that giving was part of a ritual that was made when she was born. She has always been kind hearted, and sharing has always been a lesson in the family. They sent her money all the time so that she never lacked anything. Makhosazana's mom would come and visit her, bringing gifts for her and for her friends. All the boys were also drawn to Makhosazana's fortune and wanted to date her, but her parents wouldn't allow her to have any male friends next to her. She always got in trouble with her parents whenever she had anything with a boy, so she knew better. Little did she know there was a secret behind that. One day, as usual, a friend came over to her apartment, but she came with a male friend named Ade. Ade was a pastor's child and would see visions. Immediately he got inside Makhosazana's apartment, he had a vision. but he couldn't explain what he saw. Immediately, he got his senses back. He asked the friend if they could leave because he didn't know what happened to him. They then left that day. Ade didn't say anything to Makhosazana or her friend about what he saw, but he was troubled. He then called his father later to tell him that he had a vision, but he couldn't explain it. His father then told him to pray, and he will do the same. He then went to bed that night. The next day, Makhosazana got sick, and she called her mother to inform her of her condition. Her mother then came to check up on her, but she knew that something must have happened because Makhosazana was protected by her snake, and she barely got sick ever since she was born. Her mother then took her home so that she could attend to her. That night, Makhosazana's mother slipped something in Makhosazana's drink so that Makhosazana can fall asleep. She then opened the sacred room that has always been closed. And before she knew it, a big shining snake came out and entered Makhosazana's room. It rolled itself around Makhosazana and disappeared into the sheets. After an hour, the snake then came out of her room and went back to the secret room. Makhosazana's mother then locked that secret room as usual. She then went to check up on Makhosazana, only to find her sleeping. The next day, Makhosazana felt better, as if she has never been sick. But her mother was furious with her and asked her if she has had any encounter with a boy, because that could be the reason why she is sick. Makhosazana was shocked. She tried to explain to her mother, but her mother was upset. Makhosazana, ufuna ukufa yini? Stay away from boys. Please, ngane yami, ngiyacela, as she cried out in desperation. Makhosazana then apologized and promised her mom not to do that again. The next day, she went back to her apartment. Everything seemed normal until Makhosazana met Ade at the campus again, and he asked her how she has been doing. Makhosazana was pleased to see Ade. She was not the type to be drawn to boys, but she enjoyed her conversation with Ade, that she even forgot about what her mother told her about boys. She invited Ade over to her apartment. She then remembered her mother's words. Ade, my mother doesn't allow boys over to my apartment. I'm so sorry about that. Ade also agreed that it was not good for a lady to invite boys over because it wasn't safe. They then exchanged numbers and agreed to chat online instead. After a couple of weeks of chatting, they got closer and closer. Ade then invited Makhosazana over to his place, since he's not allowed to go to her place. As agreed, she went to visit Ade after their lectures one fateful day. Born from a Christian home, Ade's apartment had Bibles, holy water, rosaries, anointing oils, and other sacred Christian items. Immediately Makhosazana entered Ade's apartment. She fainted. Whilst Ade was trying to wake her, she started talking, but Ade didn't understand what she was saying. He then called Makhosazana's friend for help. Remember, darkness and light does not mix. When her friend came over, Makhosazana came back to her senses, but she didn't remember what happened to her. They then took Makhosazana to her apartment because she just suddenly felt sick again. Ade's father then called Ade and told him about a dream he had of a snake chasing him. That's when Ade now remembered and told his father of what transpired between him and Makhosazana. His father became worried and told Ade to start fasting and praying for protection because something evil was fighting him. This time, Makhosazana couldn't call her parents because she remembered the promise she made to her mother about mingling with boys. Back at the house, Makhosazana's parents started getting worried about Makhosazana also because she was getting older. She also asked a lot of questions which they couldn't answer. They tried to keep this secret, but they knew it wasn't easy anymore, as she's now starting to suspect a lot. A week passed on, and her condition wasn't getting better. She then decided it was time for her to go home. Her parents warned her before about this, so they knew exactly what happened to their daughter the minute she came in. But they knew also that they needed to tell Makhosazana of this secret because she could die, and they feared losing their daughter. As Makhosazana's parents retraced their steps, they called their daughter to come and sit with them so that they can explain to their daughter the reason why they do not want her to be in contact with a man and why she cannot behave like her peers. Makhosazana started crying because her parents have never spoke to her in that manner, and she knew whatever it was, it must have been important. Ubaba started talking, but he didn't make sense until Mama intervened and said to Makhosazana, "Ngani yam, ngicela usixolele for putting you through this pain." She went on and told Makhosazana about what happened. One day, Makhosazana's parents went to a witch doctor to seek help since they were poor, expecting a child, but were worried about how they were going to take care of her. The witch doctor then told them about her friend who can help them, but also warned them of the sacrifices and negative side effects of doing these rituals. Makhosazana's parents, out of desperation, went to the witch doctor who performed such rituals. When they got there, they saw a lot of people with big cars, and they thought God has answered their prayers and the days of poverty were over. As it got to their turn, Makhosazana's parents then went in. The witch doctor already knew what they wanted and even told them that he knew that the woman was pregnant. The witch doctor then told Makhosazana's mother that she wasn't allowed in the shrine because she was pregnant and should wait outside as he consults with the husband about what to do. He then told the husband that he needed to sacrifice their daughter once she was born. She was to be married off to one of her snakes to get rich, but there were conditions of this marriage. Makhosazana was to not have any physical contact with a man and of course no children. There will be consequences if they break the rules, which was a major condition amongst all of them. The witch doctor then told them to go home and think about the sacrifice, and once a decision has been made, to come back when it's time to give birth. Makhosazana's father then went outside and took his wife home. When they got home, Makhosazana's father then told his wife what the witch doctor said, and the wife shouted, "Hi, Baba," out of shock. She cried the whole night and couldn't sleep thinking about this sacrifice. The next day, Makhosazana's parents didn't say a word to each other about what happened the previous day. The matter was never discussed again in the house as it weighed heavily on them. A month before Makhosazana was born, they then started to feel the pressure as they needed to prepare for the baby. But they didn't have any money to buy baby stuff. Out of desperation, they then decided to take the witch doctor's idea to marry their newborn daughter to a snake. As discussed, Ubaba went there to see the witch doctor to tell her about the decision to his proposal. The witch doctor was pleased and told him to bring the baby to the shrine on the day she is born. Makhosazana's father then agreed and went home to tell his wife of the news. On the day of delivery, Makhosazana's parents then took the baby to the witch doctor. They handed the baby over to the witch doctor and sat outside as instructed. After 3 hours, the ritual was done and told them that they needed to buy a house with the money they will be receiving the next day. And the witch doctor gave them a calabash they had to take home. And that secret calabash, no one was supposed to see or touch it. The moment the calabash breaks, it will be a symbol of a broken marriage, and meaning the ritual will also be broken. The snake she was married to needs to be in a white house. No colors except white. Everything surrounding them must be white, including their clothes, cars. Even workers must wear white whilst in the house. They also need to sacrifice a cow every month in honor of the wedding between Makhosazana and the snake. Since she was married to the snake, no man should come near her because the snake was jealous, and any man next to her is a threat. If she sleeps with any man, both of them would die and the marriage will be broken. All the riches will go. She should also be called Makhosazana, the snake princess. These were the other major conditions given to the parents. They took Makhosazana and went home. The next day, they found a lot of money next to the calabash, as told by the witch doctor. They have never seen that amount of money in their lives and couldn't contain their happiness. They bought food, drinks, clothes. They celebrated with neighbors and told everyone they were celebrating the birth of their daughter. On that day, they were all wearing white clothes and called their daughter Makhosazana. They bought a house and did everything as agreed. Their lives were surrounded by wealth and they lived in joy until Makhosazana went to university. They didn't think about the consequences of taking her to university. They wanted their daughter to have an education, which they never had whilst growing up, forgetting that she's not an ordinary child, but she was married to a snake. When they told her, she was shocked and didn't know how to react to the news. She knew that she wasn't ordinary when she started university, but she just brushed it off. She used to tell them about her dreams of a big snake, but every time she told her parents about the dreams, they just pretended that it was just a dream and nothing of that. Everything started to make sense, and she was so confused as all this sounded so unreal. Makhosazana's parents didn't know what she was thinking and how she felt. She then asked her parents if she was allowed to have children, and her parents told her of the consequences of being with a man. She cried every day, asking her parents for a solution, but there wasn't any except death. She took a break out of university because she couldn't concentrate on her studies anymore. She lost a lot of weight because she cried a lot. She was walking around the house like a zombie because she felt like her life was over. In the meantime, the snake was still entering her room. Her marriage was still going on as planned. Riches were still entering into the calabash. Life was going on, but there was no joy. There was no happiness. There was no rest of mind. There was no peace. And taking her to the hospital was risky because they didn't know what she was thinking and were scared that she might share what they told her with the doctors. She fell in deep depression. Her parents didn't know what to do. She lived in sorrow whilst the money was still coming in, but they didn't enjoy spending it, knowing that their daughter was in sorrow. Their lives were never the same again. But one day, Makhosazana started to accept this marriage and realize that it was actually not bad. Please stick around for part 2 of the movie just to hear exactly how Makhosazana got to understand and like this idea, because wow, money is the root of all evil. Please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, comment on my channel, and thank you so much for supporting my stories. Thanks, bye.